Designs. I thought today I would, being the 1st of April, I decided this is the book I made yesterday, so that's from the previous video, and I think I got 180 pages. I decided to put that one into my my cover, my doodle Hobonichi, fake Hobonichis in its original cover. So my giant Hobonichi, I decided, needed a cover. So I'd forgotten, moving everything upstairs, I found all my paper stacks, my paper stash, and realized that I absolutely love all these, because I used to make books probably about 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago. And so I thought, I love this. I've always been too precious to use it. So I thought, why not make a Hobonichi cover? Now, I don't like the back, but I'm coming to that later. But I love this. And one of the books, one of the packages, let me see if I can keep in. One of the packages of the paper packs had a pocket covering it, a plastic casing. And it's quite nice plastic. And so I made a cover on cover. So I stuck this to the book. It's very makeshift. I just wanted to, it's a prototype, but I will get some nicer plastic. I've also, because I tied the tie off down here, and the books, that I put this here. So the reason is, I was doodling yesterday, I can use this in the book, and then when it's not in use, just pop it in there. So I had a bit of a play yesterday, so I'm going to colour this in today. I just had a bit of a play about what I was going to do in it. I found in my Bible journaling, I've put my washi tape in here, the pen and pencil that I'm going to be using, and some sticky notes and posters. And I found some quite nice Bible journaling stickers. And I've got 12, but they're like tabs. So the plain ones, I can write the months down here so I can get to them easily. So I do have 12. I've also got these, which I can just pull in half, and then I've got double. So I don't really need the tabs for that. I just need the tabs for the months. I like the bullet journal way better. So my year plan, obviously I'm not going to be bothered with January, February or March. So I've put April in here. So this is going to have the days, and it's going to have the days of the week, instead of this system, which I drew out, and it's not my fave. So I thought I would go back to the bullet journaling bit. So I've got the first page, because I thought I'd do this because it's the first page that I've started it or made it. I've got the year, and then probably a few tasks. I'm then going to put a monthly. I think I'm going to do, I think that's going to be my weekly, actually. That's my weekly. So I'm going to do a weekly one. But I think I might change that out. I might. Oh, that's the one I was going to do. That's the weekly one. No, that's the monthly one. That's the weekly one. And then I have my first day and my second day. And I was looking at the smaller size, and I have been using for the last couple of years a little tiny bullet journal in this little system here. And I was looking at the A6 Hobonichi, which is basically a printer paper folded in half. Well, that one's the A5. This is A6. So I think I'm going to make myself the Hobonichi Techo or Techo, and I need 700 and some pages. I wrote it down. 752 pages is a 5-year one. So it's 752 pages, and it's a 5-year A6 Hobonichi. So that's my little job for tonight. So I was really excited with this. I cut, excuse me, this is a 12 by 12 piece of Mariposa stack. And I've cut out 2 of the butterflies and stuck them on. And I got out my multi-mat, which I haven't had my multi-mat out. I haven't had my multi-mat out for years, so I was dead chuffed. And it actually worked really well. It's beautiful stuff, is the multi-mat. Studio multi-mat. And it sticks down beautifully and it goes very flat. So I stuck the butterflies and cut them out. So I'm going to get another piece to cut out and put at the back, but I haven't quite decided what to do with the back yet. So I just stuck a piece of plastic in there just to cover up the stitches. Probably might take that out actually. So that's what 60 signatures look like. So there were 60 signatures in this book. The plastic cover, as I say, it was just made out of a piece of cover plastic. So I shall find some nicer plastic, but I've made a cover. And I can put things in the cover. So at the back, I've just put temp. I just put some layout paper in just for practice, just to cover that. But eventually I'm going to put the other side of this paper here. So I've got a nice back cover and a front cover. The other thing I could put in here is other stencils. I have found some other stickers as well. Some of the other papers have stickers, so I might put those in my other one. I found this bag which I used to use for journaling, so I put my washi tape in here, and I have some other stickers as well that I can use. So I like the setup. I think I like this setup. That one's too big. Oh no, that one isn't too big. That's the other one that I use. So again, I can put that in there as well. And then I've just got the 2 pens, the pens So I thought I would do a bit of colouring in. Oh, hi Sandpat, welcome to Bunny Designs. So this one's drawn in pencil. I may have to repurpose this, rejig it, because my back was aching because I'm leaning over. So I think I need to be tilted up a bit. I don't think I need to go over that in pen. I drew it in pencil. I think I'll just colour it in. I'll just put those stickers in here. So they'll go that way or that way. So I was just having a bit of a doodle yesterday. I've got some plain paper at the back of that one, and I'm going to use this piece of card. It's just card. I do have some of these plastic folders, and I think I will cut one so it can go at the back, because it's quite a nice surface to work on. It is a nice surface to work on, so I'm going to make another one of those when I find I think they're downstairs, all the files. So I'm thinking about moving this and tilting this so I can colour properly, because again, you've got to be comfortable. So really it should be at that angle, and then I can, oh, not quite, and that's a better angle for me. I need to test my watercolours in here, so I'm just using the Derwents. I'm not going to be using the stronger ones because I don't think I need to, so I'm going to be using my colour. So I think I'm going to move this tray, move it out of the way. So I've got this. Don't need anything else at the moment. I do need a Derwent #1 brush, which is that one. Which is behaving itself, so that's good. So I think I had the belly band to fit over there. Oops, to fit over there. And I know you can put them through these holes, but I'm just going to put them like that for the minute. So that makes quite a nice little system. And my smaller one will fit on there. So I'm just going to get rid of that green desk. So when I put these watercolors into this one, that should go in there. And then that's my complete system. So I just need to have this with me. We'll be making the little Hobonichi. So I need to, that's another job. So if I leave that out, it'll remind me. I'm just going to put that to one side. And I can lift this. I will just be moving these for the moment. That's the other one. That would go in there as well. So I'll just try those two. I think I've got everything that I want out. I might put some tags just to keep me sorted. I don't think I need anything out of here. I do like these little pencils. I might colour with those a bit, but I want to really get into the watercolouring. So I'm just going to pick this up and move it. Oopsie. One thing I do want out is I do want these pens, because these are the ones I'm going to be doing all the outlines with. the graphy ones because I think they're quite a nice size. I think I'll leave the italics while I get that little bit stronger. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Leave that one out because I like to draw with that one. I'm not going to use the washi tape, I don't think. That's my own washi tape. So I can now just move that out of the way. Oops. Oh, I'll leave that for measuring because I need a measuring thing. Sit that next to Alfie and hope he doesn't get carried away. Ah, there's the other one. Thought there were 10. I think you got five with each one. So my next daunting task is, so I was found all sorts of shapes. I think we could possibly, in a little while, there's 3 colours there. I think possibly in a little while, we're going to put that around the edge. I think I'm going to put that around the edge. I can remove the multi-mat because I don't need it now. So thanks for joining me, guys. Hope everybody's okay and carrying on camping. Put those to one side. I haven't quite got this organised yet. I keep thinking I will do, and then I just press the button and hey presto. They might go in there actually, in which case I can keep all my things together, which is always good. I'm going to prop the table up, the desk up, so that's why I'm putting things in here, because there'll be an avalanche in a second when I tilt everything upwards. And I don't think my mouse is working for some reason. It's died a death, so I don't know what's happened there. They can go in there as well. That can go over there. It's got a handle on it. So these are the other Hobonichis. There's my ruler. And my silly very silly I've got wallpaper and all sorts of things downstairs that I could cover this and make it, sorry guys, make it pretty. That's better. So we'll bring back the beauty. So it is quite a big, it is quite big. I just have to sort the lights out. So we'll put that there and that there. The big one will go there because it'll tip up. Oops. I knew I'd have an avalanche. I moved the lamp the other day and I didn't put it where I wanted it, so you've got wires everywhere. And I moved the... It's going to be one of those stupid days where everything gets on my nerves. Right. I don't have a lot of room because this is the bedroom, so, and I'm cooking in it as well. So I feel like I'm a student again. I'm in a bed sit. So I'm in a one-room bed sit at the moment. The only advantage is I don't have to pay rent. Right. So I love this baby. Let me get the camera right. So I must admit, I am a bit smitten with it. I couldn't afford one in reality, so I absolutely love that. And I'm going to make a baby one. I'm going to make an A6 one as well to match. So I put this here for a reason, because when I turn this over, I need something to lean on. In fact, it probably will take both. It is quite a fat, chunky book, so just think where you're going to be using it, because you do need something underneath it to make it okay. So I'm going to be using the fluent watercolors, but I'm only using the watercolors because, as I say, the others go through this thinner paper. So I've got I'll put it like that. I could possibly see everything. So I can flip. I've got 6 yellows, 6 orangey reds, 6 darker reds, 6 pinks, purples, blues, greens and blues, browns and greys. So I've got enough colours for the touch and go system. Again, with the #1 brush, because I don't want to be I don't want to be messing about doing lots of other things. I think I'm just going to put this little sketch pad there, which will hold that up. So I did a little bit of a doodle of the flowers. Ruler. So I did I've done that, and then I've used the grid to make lines. So I've just drawn the lines of the grid inside the flowers. When I look at this one, I did that in this book. Done it a couple of times. Again, I think I'm going to have to start doing some tabs. So I did it on this one and I quite liked it. But that one, I've only done the squares on the inside, not the outside. So this has got, this was quite interesting. This one, I used the squares, but I made it into a pattern. And that was just a mess about. I love this paper. Sorry guys, just love the crinkle. Apologies if you don't like the sound of that, but I really like the crinkle. So I can see I've got the colours in here now. So that again, that started out as a pattern. So I think I was doing some squares. I'm sure I was doing some squares down here somewhere. This one I did lines, and then I filled them in. And then I was tracing some of the original colours. So sometimes it's quite nice to kind of doodle, so that's my doodle. So I put a piece of card underneath, not necessarily to stop it going through, because it definitely will not go through or bleed through. It'll show through, but it doesn't bleed through. I could go over it in pen, but the other thing I could do, which I might do, is very gently just make those very faint. So most of the time I do this in ink, but and we'll just take a bit of that off. I'm not doing it gently, just round and evenly. See if I can do this kind of evenly. Okay. And then of course we're going to have bits everywhere. That's going to be a pest. So this was just going to be a doodle for the April the 1st, because it's the first page, and I needed a double page spread really for the other days. So I decided to just do a colour page for this. And you could do with a brush pen, but not a posh one, if that makes any sense. So if you don't, just, it's not a fine watercolour, so it's not going to bother me as such. It's the touch and go system. So I did like the kind of patchwork that I did. It looks a little bit like a patchwork. So I quite like that. So I think, so if I hold that up, you can see it's a bit patchworky. I did it in squares, and I kind of like that. So I think I'm going to use it for this system in here, just for the first page. So again, we don't want it too wet. I have yesterday's baby white, which I just used. So it is just barely damp now. Pop that out of the way. So I think I'm just going to pick up a little bit of colour. And then so when you've gone all the way down here, when you go back, it's the same brush, but it's paler. And you end up with a watercolour effect. Again, I didn't want to do anything too taxing, but I kind of like that. So we've got something quite dark, and we are really trying to just manipulate the tip of the brush, because if we activate all the brush, we'll get all the colour. We don't want that, so go back there. Just go with a bit more colour. Alfie's having a bit of a sleep, so you may hear some snoring. That's our Alf Master. So I might have a little bit of purple on there, just a pinprick. Again, that's what I don't mind wasting that little tiny bit. That's normally what I'm happy with. I just have to reply to some pings because we're in the age where we rely on chatter. So oh, look at my little dumpling. That's my little dumpling this morning. I do miss her. Do I have that on light or dark? I've got it on light. So I do miss my little dumpling. She's growing. If you want to keep that where it is, you can use a little clip. But I'm not really bothered. I'm not doing anything. It won't go through anyway. So again, and this is a really nice, again, touch and go system. I like the paper. And this is the system I used, just touch and go, when my husband was ill. So I've got a little bit of yellow on here, so I think I may as well just move. And it's very pale, but it's still there. So again, I kind of like that. So again, touch, if you don't want to use all of that up. And again, you're not picking much up, about a pinhead of colour. So this is the Derwent watercolour pencil, but it's used on a paper palette. So it's a lot delicate. Delicate, that's not the word. And we're going to end up with some really nice patterns. I've kind of gone off onto the flowers now. So. I think I'm going to stick, oh, I should have done that. I'm going to stick with this flower here. And there's no real, oops. You just have to kind of, just to keep going. I think that one will be yellow, but So again, you're wasting about a pinprick of colour, but I can live with that. So I'll go back to this deep cadmium number 6, and we'll just finish this one off. Again, it's about a pinprick of colour that you're wasting. Excuse me. So I now need I need a nice colour for that. So I think we might have Geranium Lake. So I'm filling the squares inside the pattern, if that makes any sense. And then keep going to different parts. When you come back, it's a different colour. And you're not. So start with quite a strong square. Very easy, very quiet. And we're basically just colouring in sections of squares. So it really is quite easy and quiet and gentle. And again, this is what I wanted to do about, we'll get making the book, get the book made, and then we've got this really gentle pastime. So I'm going to make another little book that's going to go in here just with the watercolor pencils, and that will fit in the back, and then that will be my whole system. So I will have 6 pages, I think. Yeah, I've got 6 pages, and those 6 pages I'm going to put, I think, that way. Let me just see if it will fit. I get everything out, and then I put everything away, and then I can't find anything. Where's my little watercolor box? I haven't had a tidy out since I messed everything up a few days ago, so my desk is, I keep tidying it, and then it gets messy again. So I am almost surrounded by, that's what I'm looking for. That's something like that would possibly do, but I think there we are. So if I have that in there, that's going to shut, and that's going to hold my colours. I might make a colour per square, so I'll count those. So that might be my next job today, is to make that one, and then it can go in here, and then I've got a complete system. I don't need to take this one because this has got everything in it, and if I use any of these, they'll probably go through. As you can see, you can't even see it unless I hold it up. And it's a very gentle way to work. I'm not going to do all the squares like this. Everyone's going to be different, but the idea is that it's the doodle, and then it's the Hobonichi stroke bullet journal stroke Midori kind of diary, if that makes a bit of sense. But this has got to be creative, this one. I will do the other diary for the other thing, but I need to be creative. I need to occupy my time while I'm here. So I think I'll do another pink. Alfie, that's not your call to wake up and start barking. No, be a good boy. Be a good boy, Alf. But again, I love this touch and go system. I just love this system. It's so peaceful and it's silent. Anything that's silent's got to be good. Just that little bit, and then I'm going to do that turquoise green here, jade green I think I used. And again, I like the fact that it looks a little bit patchworky. And we get some beautiful pale colours as well as some stronger ones, so I quite like that. And it's fairly quick as well. That's another thing. It's fairly quick, so you can't really knock it for anything really. It's fairly quick. It's very, oh gosh, I nearly did the whole square. I nearly did the whole flower then. I'm so used to colouring in these squares. I nearly did the whole thing then. But again, you're just stroking in squares, little patchwork shapes, and that one as well. So if I do that one, it's a bit stronger, so I'll bring it down for that one. Oops, I've got a bit of a square there, so we'll come back and might have purple. It's just a really quiet way to work as well. So you can do this in the garden. On the train, you might go over your lines, but you can certainly doodle in pencil on the train, and it won't be too bouncy. So I will probably be using this design or this my flower doodle, because this is my doodle. If doodles are circular, do your circle doodles. Whatever your doodle is, it's a continuous carry on for your doodles. That's the best way I can explain. I probably won't use the flesh color or the pale pink because it's too pale. We want something that's got a little bit of variation. If you used any other water-based products, if you watered them down a little bit, but then used a barely damp brush, which is difficult because as soon as you touch a brush to a wet watercolor, it sucks it up. So you might not get the watercolor effect. You need to use it from a dry pigment. But if you're touching, if you're touching your pans, you eventually will end up with a very strong color. So it's not going to work. You need to make puddles of color like this, and then touch here where it's not so strong, because I think the Gansai Tambi watercolors might go through as well. I'll do a test of everything that I've got. And again, I've got 6 of these pages here. I think I've got 6. That's the photocopy page, but this is the thinner page. And it's the thinner page that we want to practice. So I could make a little book, just a thin book, not my usual huge books, and then I can keep that in here. Got some pages at the back, but I'll take them out later. So I was do a little kind of demo of the colours in here, and then we'll see what are the best ones. I think that's a good idea. But I like the fact that we've got this Derwent water brush, because that's the touch and go system, because that's what makes it easy. So you could put this on a cushion tray and it would be quite easy to do. But it is a really, I've got Mr. Green one there, but I'll come back to that. It's just a very nice, soft way to work, and I really love it. I really love it. I can't express how calming it is. Again, this is the system I used when my husband had a stroke and I had to sit on the stroke ward for quite a number of hours. And I had my daughter with me and I was holding my husband's hand. You can do this one-handed. It's a touch and go system. So I held my hubby's hand, and my daughter sat on the chair and I was in the wheelchair, and I just did this touch and go system, and it was very calming, really calming. I cannot tell you how calming it was, because you're just doing a little bit of touch and go, and you're not thinking particularly about anything. It's got to be bright colors, it's got to be green because it's a leaf. It's just a touch and go system. Just gonna make that one a little bit brighter, that one. And again, you waste a pinprick. Not normally my style, but I can live with that little tiny bit to get a nice effect. If I didn't do that, you wouldn't end up with mud, but you do end up with lots of colors. And normally I like that, but this particular system, I want to touch and go. I want these to be very crisp, and that there's be a bit of a difference between. I've just decided that I'm going to do this one. So again, just tickling, really pale, really pale. And again, we've wasted a pinprick of colour. So now I want a green. I think I've got an olive green here. So this is olive green 51. And that's for this one here. I used to tend to use the same colours, but I'm learning to flip a bit more, because it's the nature of this particular type of way of working. So if we go there and there, when we come back, you've got a nice pale. See, again, you want a fairly strong colour. Might just go over that one. Again, you really shouldn't go over, because if we do go over, we end up with, it'll show through more, but it's doing quite well. But this is the lined paper. So this is not, the next page is the thin paper. So that'll be the test. But I am going to do a couple of pages, because I'm going to be doing the layout of the year, the month, the week, and then I'm going to do a day, which is there. So that's the first. So I'm going to do that until the first, and then I'm ready tomorrow to do the second of the fourth. Might have to rethink how I do that. So I now need a brighter colour for there. So I think mid Viridian's quite nice. Oops, I must have got a bit of orange on that. If you get a hair on the end of your brush, you've got to start again. I must have had quite a lot of that colour on there actually for that to do that, really. So I'm going to be a bit naughty and darken that one a bit. I suppose the other thing to do is with that little bit, I could have maybe done a flower petal, but we'll see how we get on. So we've got this dark aqua, that looks quite a nice colour. So we'll have dark aqua. Again, just very gently stroking the colour. And this is where I don't want to be thinking, oh, a leaf should be green and a flower petal should be yellow. This is my system where I'm just going where I want to go. And if I have left a little bit of white behind, that's fine. So if you go in lots of different directions, by the time you come back, you've got a paler colour. Then we've got some gorgeous, rich purples, pinks. And I'm using these quite pale, so they are really, really quite pale, these. As this shows, they can be quite strong. And this is why I love these Derwent pencils. Absolutely love them because they are really versatile. You can get some beautiful, delicate colours, or you can get some kind of really in-your-face colours. So if I could only have one set of watercolours, I do love my Winsor & Newton for professional stuff, but for everything else, I think I even prefer these because I've been using them for years, since the 80s when they first came out. So I think I'm quite used to them, and just they are so versatile. I just absolutely adore them. And I could have a fuchsia pink. Amazing colour, but very bright. And this one's fuchsia pink as well, I think. So by the time you come back to a square, it's paler. So thanks for joining me, guys. Thank you for watching on YouTube. If you've got any comments or any questions, I don't normally do comparisons because lots of other people do them, and I don't normally have a lot of other kind of things. So I can only say if something works a particular way for me. I think I'm going to go back to that gorgeous, gorgeous teal colour. I think I used the top one, didn't I? I do know that it's a lot stronger than that, but again, it's quite nice to just, and again, so that it's the movement of the color, the picking up of the color, and then the very gentle stroking of the different areas of the squares that makes it therapeutic. So you're not thinking of anything in particular, it's just working that you just happen to be. So if this was a rose and you wanted to do the different colors, you'd kind of just go to different areas. I don't think I've missed any. So I'll do the big one in the middle. I've got the April to do. I'm not sure. I've got yellow there. I might do the same. Could do the same color, I think. I think I used this orange color. And as you travel around, it gets paler and paler, so you get a little bit of a patchwork just from one small section. And you really do kind of go into a really calm zone, a calmed place. And that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to keep us all fairly calm. So we're a quarter of the way. I think I'm going to do the bigger flower now. So we can go for greens. There's a pea green and there's a leaf green. This is quite a dark one. That oh, that's a dark green. Fern green's quite nice. The trick is to remember what color you are using. So hubby's going for a walk. I haven't got any sound. I don't know if I've got any sound. Do I have any sound? Don't know if I've got any sound at all. Maybe I don't have any sound. So that was fern green. I think I'm going to use this one, which is tan. So you can judge how many spaces, how much paint to pick up, and by the size of the shape that we're filling in. I think that's about right. And we've got scarlet or poppy red. I think we'll have poppy red. It's quite a strong colour, this, so this might either spoil it or make it, because it's quite strong, this one. So hubby has ventured out. So that one goes round there. Oh, thank you, Sandpat. Thank you. I just didn't know if I had any sound or not. Thank you. I've lost my little logo at the bottom there, so I was a bit perturbed. So I apologise if you're watching this on YouTube. It might be a little bit boring, but I always like to do, well, I always try to do it in real time, and then you can see the process. So the poppy red is quite strong, so it's quite nice to have a little bit of a stronger colour. Again, so you can draw circles, squares, you can do a doodle, you can trace something, you can use a ruler and make lots of shapes. You can use a stencil and make patterns, or you can just doodle flowers, rose petals, anything you want to create a shape to then just very gently colour. You do have to concentrate a little bit because you've got to keep within the lines. But I'm just trying to kind of dot about a bit so we can get a bit of a variation. So that's what it looks like. I hope that looks okay. Perhaps I need a bit more dark to stop that silly. Just put that over there. That might be better. And I did have some patterned paper somewhere. Oh, I found some more paper patterns. Oh, look, I've got all Christmassy things to cut out and do. Oh, look at those tags. They're pretty. I found all sorts of things, moving things upstairs. It is a bit Christmas, but it's colourful, so we'll just leave it there. Apologies for the Christmassy, but it stops the light. It stops the light. So I've done the top bit here. I might be tempted to move everything around because, again, you've got to be comfortable. It won't work if you're not comfortable. I've gone on to Inktense. Oh no, I haven't. Still on watercolor. Yes, I have. I've gone on to Inktense. Now it's all right with this one because this is the thingy paper. I knew I'd do that. I'm gonna have to put a clip on there. I do that every time. Every single time I flip onto that. That's why I've kind of botched a couple of Bible pages because I've had a lot of clips and I put them in here. There we go. Right. Won't do it again. I won't be using black actually. There we go. So I won't do that again. Yeah, I thought that was a bit strong when I was doing it. So you've got to be careful. It was all right with this paper. That's if you're doing the photocopy paper and the foolscap paper, but not the layout paper. It's the layout paper that the Inktense goes through and shows through. It doesn't go through, but it shows through rather a lot, and you might get a little bit of a show through. So I wanted to stay with my 72 Derwent pencils because I know they don't go through. So let's have zinc yellow. And after a little while, oops, brush starts to do something silly. It does go dry after a while because we're not activating the whole brush. And it knows we're not doing that, so it doesn't always like it. And the other thing is I quite like the paler colours. I do like the paler colours, so that's the other reason. So you just carry on. It doesn't matter if you don't always get the perfect yellow next to the other one. It still has a bit of a patchwork effect. So again, I'm not going to be too precious with this. It's more for chilling out than trying to make a Rembrandt. And again, I'm just trying to keep the same colours on the same flowers, but not necessarily. All of them. Apologies, Alfie's having a bit of a snore down there. I think I have some more greens. Alf is snoring away. Doesn't have a care in the world, bless him. So I wanted to make something that we can use at home rather than having to go buy something. And again, there is something quite nice about making your own. That's a good snore. That is a pretty neat snore. That. Go back to that yellow for this one. Yeah, he's a bit of a snory boy, is our Alf. I think we'll have a different colour now. Have a Scarlet Lake. I think we'll have a Crimson Lake, actually, I think. Rose Madder, perhaps. Might look quite nice. There's just something quite calming about just filling out a few squares. I do like the patchwork effect. As I said, I did this the other day and then kind of really liked it. I think I'm going for a chrome middle. I might have to go somewhere else because it's looking a bit strong, that one. This is a sap green. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Thank you for watching on YouTube. If you like any suggestions or you like anything or you want to see a bit more of anything else, I will be going back to the colouring. I've got to get this obsession out of my head. I've got the Hobonichi obsession. I tried it years ago and couldn't get on with it because it was just I didn't have the time, and of course now I have the time, so don't always say never. Never say never again, to coin a phrase. I think I'm going to do these down here, this colour as well. So whereas I don't do any colouring in colour books when I haven't got the camera on, I will be playing in this book because it's just such a... It's going to give me hours and hours of endless pages. So we've got a little one there, so I think I might do that one. Cobalt blue. It's only a tiny... Oh, I might do this one, cobalt blue. I might do this one, cobalt blue, I think. The beauty of this particular pattern or a doodle is you don't have to think in reality colours, which is almost always a bonus if you don't have to do that, because it means you can do exactly what you want. Oops. To pinky red, and we'll have rose magenta, which is a big pink by any standards, is that one. I've got some pink on here, so I need to use it. Again, I've got a tiny amount that I'll probably just leave. So we'll have a burnt carmine, I think. This is a really strong colour, this one. Oh, says she. Normally it's a very strong colour. Again, I didn't go where it's really dark because I don't want it quite that strong, if I can help it. I would like that a little bit paler. So I just wanted a pinprick of colour because it's a very strong colour, is that? But again, a beautiful muted pink when we water it down. Oops. Oh, I'm doing that one. So we're just stroking in a little bit of colour. I'll go back to that green. Just use that gorgeous purple again. And is actually something quite nice about just using 6 colours. So put the green on, and then I've got one flower and some little tiny flowers to do. So I've quite enjoyed this actually. Again, it's killed an hour. I've already drawn it. It's just, again, flicking through. And now this is a beautiful colour. I'm not sure if it will come up. It should do. I can try it. It's a beautiful mint colour, but you can't normally take a mint colour to a different, any lighter, because it's already a light one. I hope that made sense. Sometimes you need a bit of a stronger colour to make it work, but it's fine. It's there. I've done it, so it's fine. Because mint is a very pale colour anyway. And I think we'll have dark violet. I don't think we've had dark violet. Have I used dark violet? Probably. Try this one. It's a beautiful blue, this delft blue. And we'll have this is more like a magenta, but it's called Imperial Purple. I might have got this. I thought Imperial Purple was a deep purple. haven't had a carmine on there. It's more like purple. Alfie is, that's better. Oops. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope everybody's colouring and keeping calm. That's what we need to do. Keep calm and colour. And wade our way through our colour books. Or Hobonichi, depending on what we're using at the time. I've quite enjoyed that. I thought that was quite therapeutic and quite very pale as well. Nothing too in your face, because I wanted to do something quite gentle. And the thing is, if you're not feeling kind of up to getting a big colour book out and tackling a very complicated page, just doing a bit of a doodle and colouring that in is just quite nice and very therapeutic, I have to say. Just looking to see if I've missed a little flower, because I've got a tiny bit of colour on here. I don't like the colour of that one, so I'm just going to just make that. So that's it. I finished it. So that's my April the 1st. Clean my brush. So thanks for watching, guys. That's end of my, because I'm going to do this other thing off camera, all my writing outs and my doodles and things. And I'm going to make an A6 size chunky paper. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I absolutely love my Hobonichi. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely afternoon.